Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're doing well out there. So it kind of seems like we're at a pretty, pivotal moment here, maybe like a crossroads, if you will, when it comes to at-home crypto mining, whether that be GPU or CPU or even FPGAs or ASICs at your house. It just seems like there continues to be this push from, straight up mining more into these, GPU rental rig marketplaces, if you will, that have inference. People are renting them to mine. People are renting them to run nodes and do all sorts of other work. And I think a lot of the hardware that was mining is kind of continuing to push into this, new area. At least that's what I've been seeing. Profitability for some of the platforms has kind of dropped a little bit with this more hardware coming online. But I've been doing these GPU kind of rental rig builds for a little while now, as many others as well. And I've picked up a couple things that can be kind of helpful. And I want to show you one of them, actually, no, two of them that, you probably will benefit from being aware of. So with that being said, let's hop on over into the computer and I'm going to show you guys something that, I think is pretty helpful if you're running these, GPU rental rigs. All right, guys. So we're over here on OctaSpace's Marketplace. I'm filtering for 4090. And honestly, OctaSpace has probably been the most consistently profitable and in demand, hardware marketplace for me to deploy servers onto. It's not as good as it was about 5 months ago, but it's still crushing it, and it's still definitely, in my opinion, worthwhile. And so I'm keeping my hardware on there. I haven't brought anything new online very recently, but things are just kind of chugging along. And so with this increase in new hardware and competitiveness, now anything you can do to get an edge and get your server or node rented, you should look into working on. And actually, this little marker up here, this little data point up here, reliability details, you can see in a server that you want to rent has in its a stability score, a 30-day machine uptime score. You can see successful rentals, failed rentals. You can see average session duration and max session duration. The reason why I think this is important is because with the increase in competitiveness, again, anything you can do to get an edge, whether that's faster internet, more RAM, just having a more reliable server that's completing jobs successfully is going to give you just a better reputation score. And so I realized that, I've been on OctaSpace for a little while now. These are actually some of my old node IDs. And when I would build a new server, or if I would take one down and reformat because I wanted to add a new hard drive that was bigger or faster, I would actually just delete the old node ID history and just make an entirely new server. Now we're in the 5,000s now, right? I actually had ones that were in the 300s here that I had deleted. And the reason why I want to, show you what I'm about to show you is because this one's not online right now, but I want to bring, my Octa 01 node back online, and I want to capture, all those successful jobs and that reliability score from when I originally had this server online for a while. Also, I kind of like the history of having this older node with the older node ID, and so being able to take your node down and put a new hard drive on it, you actually have to do a couple steps to get the backup done properly. It's not hard, and I want to show you guys how to do that right now. All right, so we're in this scenario where I took this Octa 05 down and offline. I reformatted that drive, I wanted to do something else in Ubuntu with it, and I ended up adding a new hard drive and formatting again. And so now I have just upgraded the hardware, and it's been totally reformatted. And so I want to bring that node back online, and I want to restore it, to this ID. I don't want to just make a new node, right? I want to reclaim it with that token, whatever. And so the first thing that you need to do in order to pull this off is to come over here into the node itself, go to these settings, and you need to download this backup. Now I'm currently in Windows right now doing this, just so you know, but I'm going to show you how to do this. It's quite simple. So here is my node ID backup, and I'm going to download this file right now. So what I think will be the most common scenario, and therefore the most helpful thing for me to show you guys is, a fresh Windows install of OctaSpace, the WSL2 version. And so, let's pretend here that this is a brand new setup. I just installed my OctaNode on this fresh Windows setup, or, whatever, you uninstalled it before and you want to kind of reinstall and claim back your old Node ID. And so I have OctaSpace installed on this, fresh Windows install. And I'm going to come in here into the OctaSpace UI and I'm going to open up the terminal. I've already downloaded that backup file, as you remember, and now we need to get into the correct directory to place that identity file. So I'm going to come in here and take a look. I need to cd into this OSN directory. This is like the main OctaSpace directory, in your WSL2, and this is what it should look like cleanly. These are all the files that are in here. This os.ident file is what we downloaded with the backup. We need to get it in here, and it has a different name from when we downloaded it, right? It's this. We just need to get this in here, and then, remove the old one and change the name of, this old one to this new one and get it going. So let's do that. Now, since I'm working all in Windows here on the same machine, I actually think the simplest and probably most helpful way to go about doing this is going to be to just use the Windows File Explorer and actually just navigate to the directory you need to be in WSL2. And so I'm going to show you guys how to do that now. There's more than one way to skin a cat. There's a bunch of different ways you can do this. Again, I'm totally in Windows doing a backup here, all on the same machine. I have done one where I was in Windows, SSH'd into the other server that was Ubuntu, and I actually just used Python to install Wormhole and use Wormhole to send it to the other one. I can show you guys how to do that, but for now, I think the most helpful thing is going to be to identify, the exact instance of WSL2. As you can see here, I got a couple of these running on different setups on my network, so I know that it's this one. You need to get into your home/Octa/OSN directory. That's actually what I'm looking at here in the terminal. We are now in one and the same place. These should match up, right? All the files in here are, I've just accessed the exact same location on my, through Windows Explorer, and I am going to now drag and drop, right, the new, remember the backup file that we downloaded? I'm gonna literally just drag and drop that ident file into, this current server. Good, so there it is. Now it should be in here. Let's check. And there it is, right? That's great. So I think before I go ahead and do anything, I want to make a backup. So I'm going to do copy and paste here this ident, and I'm going to just do an ident dot backup. That way I have one just in case I jack things up. Boom. So there it is. Now I am not sure what this file is, but I don't think we need that. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and delete that one. Oops. And Linux is case sensitive there. This ident, let's just call him zone.identifier. Okay. Good, that's wrong. Deleted now. So what I need to do in order to get this to work and then reboot is I need to rename this backup file that I downloaded, right, to this osn.ident. So this osn.ident is not going to be needed anymore. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete that with rm-rf osn.ident. Now I don't have an ident file. Oh no. So I'm going to copy and paste my new one that I just downloaded. And I want to name it osn.ident. And boom, there we have it. Let's take a look. Did that work? Yes. Now I have the new one. This guy is just chilling in here. This is the backup of the one before we did anything. So just in case things go foul, we can just do that backup. I will leave, I'll leave a Google Doc with these commands in there, or I'll try and just leave them in the video description below. But ultimately, you need to just navigate. I'll show you exactly what you type to navigate, to your WSL instance in Windows Explorer, and that should make it nice and easy for you. Now, the final step here is we need to reboot so that, this new setup will take on the identity of this old one. So let's go ahead and do that right now. And real quick, before we reboot, it is very, very simple. Just to get into that instance WSL2 here. Actually, I'm just going to show you right now. You just type in, this // here, WSL $, and there you have it. And then you run that. This will show you all the WSL instances, and then you just click on your computer name, and then you go through that process. The other thing I want to note before you do any of this is make sure that you don't have an active session running and enable maintenance and save it. Make sure that you're actively in maintenance, and then now I'm going to go ahead and reboot, and hopefully this will take into effect. All right, mission accomplished. I have rebooted and restarted my node here in Windows, and it actually was this is my farm down here, farm PC, and it is now busy running the benchmarks. So that has worked. I actually probably will change this back to the gaming PC farm ID, but there you have it. That is how you restore any of your node IDs on a brand new setup. So hopefully that helps some of you guys out there. There's one last thing that I want to show you. As you can see, not all of my nodes are running the latest version of OctaSpace, and so I just think being if you're going to have competitive and you're going to be a good node, a good host here, you're probably going to want to update these and just stay with keeping everything updated, whether that's ports or GPU pass-through, whatever it is. So I actually now am going to real quick just show you guys. It's quite simple. You're just going to want to come on over here into the docs, and this is it. It's literally 2 steps to just update it. The only things you got to make sure of is that you're not actively stopping OSN when somebody's like in the middle of a rental. So whenever you have a chance, if your machine is not rented and you're doing a little bit of maintenance, that's the time for you to just run these 2 commands. It's stop OSN, and then you just update, and once it's done updating the script, it'll just restart the service. So let's go ahead and do that right now. So I actually haven't done this yet in Windows. All my Windows ones are pretty new. Only got a couple of those. So I'm going to assume I'm going to come on over here into the terminal once again. And then I guess I'm in the right directory. Maybe I'll just make sure I'm in OSN. And I'm going to run these commands here to get this. I'm going to stop. I know nobody's rented. I'm in maintenance mode. So I'm going to do stop systemctl stop OSN. So I guess I gotta be root. Try that again. Okay, it looks like it stopped, and then now I'm going to run a curl. Oh, I don't know if a curl will work. Oh, I'm in WSL, it should. Oh, would you look at that? Fantastic. So there you go, just make sure you're in root, and then you just run systemctl stop OSN, and you let it do its thing here, and you update. It's doing Docker. So let's just go ahead and check. It should. Yeah, so it looks like it's going. Now, I don't know if this is actually going to update to a newer version or not, but let's let this finish, and then we'll double check. We'll double check there. All right. All right, very simple. That got done and probably took about 30 seconds total. You can see it's updated. There is a new version out. So this is the one that I just ran the update on, and it is 0.56. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of these updated. Looks like I'm having a little bit of lull in service right now and downtime. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure these are all updated. But there you have it. That is how you can restore any of your node IDs onto an upgraded build or a new build, whatever it is, and just kind of claim that history that you have. And then also, if you want to remain competitive, you got to be checking the prices and make sure you're deploying good hardware. But also, I would recommend just keeping your version updated, and it's just as simple as running those 2 commands. So I'll leave a link to the doc so you can grab these, and then I will leave in the video description how to get into WSL, using Windows Explorer, and that should be it. All right, guys, good luck and happy renting.